All right, the NBA awards announcements continue on this week. We've got the Coach of the Year reveal happening on Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern time on NBC and Peacock. I am one of the 100 voters that votes on this particular award, so I want to unpack my ballot here in a video. To me, this was a three-person race between Mitch Johnson, J.B. Bickerstaff, and Joe Mazzulla. And after some consideration, I whittled it down to a two-person race. Third on my ballot was Mitch Johnson. Outstanding job this year in San Antonio, taking a very young team with limited experience to the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. I've said all the time, and it's reflected in my votes. I think being in the West matters maybe a little bit more than being in the East, because every single night you're facing a top-tier team, where it's not always the case in the Eastern Conference. And you look at the way that this Spurs team played against Oklahoma City in their matchups, it really reflected well on Mitch Johnson, who has developed some really top-tier talent. The only reason maybe I lean the other way is that they did come into this year with some semi-lofty expectations. Maybe not 2 seed, but you have Wembanyama for a full season. You knew he was going to be the best defensive player in the league and probably one of the best overall players in the league. Steph Castle, after a great rookie year, you knew was going to step up. They get Dylan Harper. Lottery luck gets them another terrific lead guard, a full year with De'Aaron Fox. They had some good talent there, and Mitch Johnson did an unbelievable job of molding it together. I have him at number 3 on my ballot. The top 2 spots, though, this was a tough one. I mean, J.B. Bickerstaff, what he's done in Detroit over the last couple of years has been remarkable. He takes over a 14-win team last year, leads them to a 44-win season, 30-win turnaround. Comes in this year. Expectations for sure to build on that, but they win 60-plus games, and they take the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. More importantly, down the stretch, when they lost Cade Cunningham, this team continued to hold its place while Boston and New York were trying to catch them. Jalen Duren showed even more improvements in his play down the stretch there. So that's another strong closing argument for J.B. Bickerstaff to be Coach of the Year. I don't have a problem with that vote. It just didn't get my vote. My vote went to Joe Mazzulla in Boston. And look, the biggest reason I would say is because this Boston team came into the year with zero expectations. I had them pegged for the high 30s in wins. I thought it could have been worse after I saw the team start 0-3. I thought there could be a scenario where they get to midseason hovering around 500 and decide to shut some guys down, sink in the standings a little bit. They have their first-round pick. Maybe that could have been a situation that Boston could have found itself in. Instead, after that sluggish start, they took off. They have been brilliant all season long. Joe Mazzulla has proven himself to be, over the last couple of years, one of the great tacticians in the NBA. He has also shown that he is a tremendous player development coach. Among the reasons Boston was able to survive these losses this past offseason, 4 of their top 9 players gone. Jason Tatum expected to be gone all season long, is because they developed Baylor Shireman. They developed Jordan Walsh. They developed Neemias Queta. Peyton Pritchard was ready to go from top 6th man into an even more significant role. Jaylen Brown, who had to have been salivating at this opportunity to be the lead guy, he was ready to step into that role. And Joe Mazzulla made it all work. He made it all work and had this team as the number 2 team in the Eastern Conference. They had a better offensive rating this year than they did last year. Think about that. They had Tatum, they had Horford, they had Porzingis, they had Drew Holiday, whole bunch of guys. And they had a better offensive rating this year than they did last year. Just an incredible wire-to-wire coaching job by Joe Mazzulla. That's why he got the top spot on my ballot. I'm expecting this race to be very close. Very close. I think J.B. Bickerstaff deserves it. I think Mitch Johnson has a strong argument. But for me, it was Joe Mazzulla as Coach of the Year.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.